Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Daily English Talk. I'm Ayla.
And I'm Jack. We are so happy to have you join us for another episode designed to help you speak English more naturally and with more confidence.
That's right, Jack. Every week, we take a common, everyday topic that you need to talk about in English, and we break it down into simple, easy-to-understand steps. We want to make learning English feel relaxed, guided, and fun.
And today's topic is one of the most fundamental things you do in any language, talking about what you like and what you dislike. It sounds simple, but there are so many ways to express your feelings, from a simple, I like it, to a much stronger, I can't stand it.
Exactly. If you think about it, almost every conversation you have involves sharing your preferences. What kind of food do you like? What kind of music do you listen to? Do you like your job? Do you like the weather today?
It's everywhere. And for our A2 and B1 level learners, knowing how to express these feelings clearly and naturally is a huge step towards sounding more like a native speaker. We're going to cover the simple ways, the strong ways, and some really useful natural phrases that native speakers use all the time.
We'll also give you lots of real-life examples and a few key vocabulary phrases that will make your English sound much more natural. So get comfortable, maybe grab a cup of tea or coffee, and let's get started.
Before we dive into the main lesson, Ayla, let's have a little warm-up conversation. It's a great way to hear some of these phrases in action. I was thinking about our weekend plans. Did you do anything you really enjoyed?
Oh, that's a great question, Jack. I had a wonderful weekend, actually. I went to a new park near my house, and I spent a few hours just walking and reading. I really enjoy spending time outdoors, especially when the weather is nice. It's one of my favorite ways to relax.
That sounds lovely. I love reading too, but I find it hard to concentrate outside. I usually prefer to read in a quiet, cozy place, like my armchair at home. I don't mind going for a walk, but I prefer a more active hobby.
That's true. We all have different preferences, don't we? So, what did you do that was more active? Did you go running? I know you like running.
I did. I went for a long run on Saturday morning. I adore running. It's probably my favorite thing to do for exercise. It makes me feel so energized. But I have to admit, I can't stand running when it's raining. If it's raining, I will definitely stay inside.
Oh, I agree with you there. I hate running in the rain. It's just miserable. The wet shoes, the cold air. It's definitely not my cup of tea. See, listeners, we've already used a few different ways to talk about our likes and dislikes, from the simple I love to the stronger I can't stand, and the very natural phrase, not my cup of tea. We'll explain all of these in detail very soon.
I also tried a new recipe this weekend. I made a spicy lentil soup. I quite like cooking, but I'm not a professional chef, that's for sure.
How was it? Did you like it?
It was okay. I liked the flavor, but it was a little too spicy. I think next time I will use less chili. I don't like food that is too spicy. How about you? Is there any food you really dislike?
That's a tough one. I generally like most foods, but if I had to choose one thing I really dislike, it would be olives. I cannot stand the taste of olives. I know many people love them, but for me, they're just too salty and strong.
Olives. That's a good one. I don't mind olives, but I wouldn't order them specifically. I think the one food I absolutely hate is raw tomatoes. Cooked tomatoes are fine, but raw ones, I just can't eat them.
That's a perfect example of how specific our preferences can be. And that's what we're going to talk about now, the different ways to express these feelings, from a mild preference to a very strong emotion.
Let's move into the main topic discussion. We'll start with the basics, which are essential for our A2 learners. The most common and simple way to express a positive feeling is, of course, using the verb like.
That's right. The structure is very simple. I like plus noun, or I like plus verb ing, gerund. For example, I like coffee, or I like reading.
And for a negative feeling, we use don't like. I don't like cold weather, or I don't like waiting.
Now, let's talk about how to make that feeling stronger. If you want to say you like something very much, you can use the verb love or the phrase really like.
So instead of I like chocolate, you can say I love chocolate, or I really like this new song. Using really before like makes it much stronger.
And for an even stronger positive feeling, especially for things you are passionate about, you can use the verb adore. You often hear this for hobbies or people. For example, I adore spending time with my family, or she adores that singer.
That's a great word, Ayla. Now let's look at the negative side. We already know I don't like, but what if you want to express a very strong negative feeling?
The strongest common verb is hate. I hate traffic, or he hates waking up early. It's a very strong word, so use it carefully.
And another very common strong phrase that we used earlier is can't stand. This means you dislike something so much that you find it difficult to tolerate.
Let's imagine a situation. Jack, do you like loud noises?
No, I can't stand loud noises, especially when I'm trying to work.
Exactly. You could say, I hate loud noises, but I can't stand loud noises sounds very natural and emphasizes how much it bothers you. It's a great phrase to learn.
So we have a scale, listeners. From positive to negative, it looks like this: adore, love, really like, don't mind, don't like, can't stand, hate.
That's a perfect summary, Jack. Now, before we move on, Jack, I think we should spend a little more time on the difference between like and love in a conversational context, because learners often use love too much, which can sound a little unnatural for everyday things.
That's a very good point, Ayla. Love is a strong word in English. You love your family. You love your partner. You love a very special hobby. But for a new TV show or a new type of sandwich, like or really like is usually better.
Let's try a quick comparison. If I say, I love this new coffee shop, it means I think it's amazing, I go there all the time, and I feel a strong connection to it.
But if I say, I like this new coffee shop, it means it's good, I enjoy the coffee, and I might go back. It's a milder, more common expression.
And if you want to make like stronger, remember to use really. I really like this coffee shop. That's a perfect middle ground between like and love.
The intensity of the word changes the feeling of the conversation, and this is something our listeners should pay attention to. Don't be afraid to use like most of the time. Save love for the things that truly make you happy.
That's great advice. Now let's focus on the middle of that scale for a moment, because that's where a lot of natural conversation happens. What about things that are just okay? Not good, not bad.
That's where don't mind comes in. If someone asks, do you want to watch a movie or read a book, and you don't have a strong preference, you can say, I don't mind watching a movie. It means either option is fine for you.
Or you can simply say, it's okay. If someone asks, how was the restaurant? And it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible, you can say, it was okay. This is a very common neutral response.
Another very useful phrase for expressing a mild dislike or just a lack of enthusiasm is I'm not a fan of. This is much softer than I don't like.
Let's try that. Jack, are you a fan of very modern art?
I am not a fan of very modern art. I prefer the older classical styles. See, I didn't say I hate modern art, which would be too strong. I just said I prefer something else.
That's true. And using the verb prefer is another excellent way to talk about your likes. It means you like one thing more than another. I prefer tea to coffee, or I prefer staying home to going out.
Ayla, let's talk about the word dislike. We haven't used that verb much, have we?
No, we haven't, and that's because in spoken natural English, we usually use don't like instead of dislike. Dislike is a perfectly correct word, but it sounds a little more formal or academic. You might see it written in a survey or a report.
But in a conversation, if you say, I dislike this movie, it sounds a little stiff. It's much more natural to say, I don't like this movie. So for our A2, B1 learners, stick to don't like for the simple negative and use hate or can't stand for the strong negative. You can forget about dislike for now.
That's a great point. Now let's talk about the use of intensifiers. These are words that make your like or dislike stronger. We've used really a lot.
Really is the most common and useful one. I really like this. I really don't like that.
You can also use very much at the end of a sentence. I like this book very much. It's a little more formal than really, but it's perfectly correct.
And for strong negative feelings, you can use absolutely. I absolutely hate olives. This makes the feeling even stronger than just I hate olives.
Or I absolutely can't stand that noise. It adds a lot of emphasis. So listeners, don't just learn the verbs, learn the words that go with them to change the intensity. Really, very much, and absolutely.
We've talked a lot about the verbs and phrases. Now let's look at the grammar for a moment, but we'll keep it simple. When you use a verb after a verb of preference, like, love, hate, or enjoy, you usually use the ing form, which is the gerund.
For example, I enjoy swimming. She loves dancing. We hate waiting. The gerund is the most common and natural choice here.
You can also use the infinitive form, which is to plus verb, especially with like and love. But the gerund often sounds more natural in general conversation, especially when talking about hobbies or general activities. For example, I like to swim is correct, but I like swimming is very common. Don't worry if this feels new. Just focus on using the ing form for now.
Let's move on to practical listening and speaking examples. We're going to hear a few short dialogues that show how Ayla and Jack use these phrases in common everyday situations. Remember, there are no labels or numbers, just smooth conversation.
Jack, I'm so excited about our trip. Where should we go? I was thinking maybe the mountains.
The mountains? I don't mind the mountains, but I prefer the beach. I love swimming in the ocean.
Oh, that's true. You're a real beach person. I quite like the beach, but I can't stand the sand getting everywhere. It always ends up in my shoes.
That's fair, but imagine the sun, the warm air. I adore the feeling of the sun on my skin.
Okay. How about a city break? We could go to a big city and visit some museums. I really enjoy looking at art.
A city break sounds great. I like museums, but I prefer just walking around and trying new restaurants. I love trying new food. That's a good compromise. So we both like the city, but for different reasons. We can do both. See, listeners, we used don't mind, prefer, love, can't stand, and really enjoy all in one short exchange.
Let's try another situation. Imagine we are talking about a new movie we both saw.
Jack, did you see that new action movie, The Fast Runner?
Yes, I did. What did you think?
Honestly, I wasn't a fan of it. The story was confusing and there were too many explosions. I prefer movies with a strong story.
That's interesting. I loved it. I really enjoy action movies. I thought the special effects were amazing.
I don't mind special effects, but I hate when the plot doesn't make sense. I prefer a good drama or a comedy.
I don't like comedies very much. I find them a bit boring. I prefer something exciting. But I don't mind a good drama, as long as it's not too sad.
So, you like action and drama, and I like drama and comedy. We both dislike something about the other's preference. This is how you have a natural conversation about likes and dislikes. You don't always have to agree.
Exactly. Let's try another practical example, this time about the weather. This is a topic that comes up every day. Ayla, do you like the cold weather we've been having?
No, I don't like it at all. I can't stand the cold. I feel like I'm always shivering.
I don't mind the cold as long as it's sunny. I prefer the winter to the summer, actually. I hate the heat.
Really? I love the heat. I adore summer holidays and spending time by the pool. I can't be bothered with wearing 5 layers of clothes every day.
That's funny. See, we have completely opposite preferences, but we can talk about them easily using the phrases we've learned. We used don't like, can't stand, don't mind, prefer, hate, love, adore, and can't be bothered with. That's a full range of expressions in a very short exchange.
Now, let's move on to our vocabulary section. We're going to revisit some of the key phrases we used today and explain them a little more conversationally. These are the phrases that will make your English sound much more natural.
The first one is keen on. This is a great phrase to use instead of like or really like. It means you are very interested in something or you like it a lot. For example, you can say, I am keen on playing football, or she is keen on learning new languages. It's a very British English phrase, but it's understood everywhere.
And the negative form is not keen on. I am not keen on going out tonight. It's a polite way to say you don't want to do something. It's much softer than I hate going out.
The next phrase is one of my favorites, not my cup of tea. We used this earlier when talking about running in the rain. It means something is not to your taste or preference.
It's a very natural, idiomatic way to express a mild dislike. If someone offers you a type of food you don't like, you can say, "Oh, thank you, but that's not my cup of tea." It's polite and clear.
Let's try a quick exchange. Ayla, do you like watching reality TV shows?
No. Reality TV is not my cup of tea. I prefer documentaries.
Perfect. You expressed your dislike clearly without being rude or using a strong word like hate.
Our third phrase is the verb enjoy. We use this a lot. Remember, enjoy is always followed by the ing form of the verb. I enjoy listening to music. Do you enjoy working from home? It's a very positive verb that means you get pleasure from an activity.
The fourth word is adore. We mentioned this as a very strong way to say love. It's often used for things you feel a deep connection to. I adore the smell of fresh bread. She adores her new puppy. It's a very warm and strong word.
And on the negative side, let's look again at can't stand. Remember, this means you dislike something intensely. It's a very useful phrase for strong feelings. I can't stand people who are always late. I can't stand the sound of a drill. It's a strong expression of annoyance or intense dislike.
Finally, let's talk about the simple phrase, it's okay. This is a great phrase for expressing neutrality. If someone asks you, do you like this shirt, and you don't love it, but you don't hate it, you can just say, it's okay. It's a very common, simple phrase to use in everyday English.
So, to recap those key phrases, keen on, not my cup of tea, enjoy, adore, can't stand, and it's okay. Try to use one of these in your English conversation this week.
Ayla, I was just thinking about the phrase, I'm not a fan of. I think it's so useful because it's a very polite way to disagree.
It is, Jack. Let's spend a moment on politeness because that's very important in English conversation. If someone asks you, do you like my new haircut, and you don't like it, you can't just say, no, I hate it.
That would be very rude. Instead, you can use a softer phrase. You could say, it's not my cup of tea, or I prefer your old style.
Or you could say, I don't mind it, but I prefer the other one. Using don't mind here is a gentle way to say it's okay, but not great.
Politeness is all about softening your opinion. Another way to soften a negative opinion is to use the word just.
How does that work?
If someone asks, do you like this movie, and you don't, you can say, it's just not for me. The word just makes the statement less aggressive. It implies that the problem is with you, not with the movie.
That's a brilliant tip for our B1 learners. I just prefer to stay home tonight. It's a polite way to say, I don't want to go out.
Let's try one more quick dialogue using these polite phrases. Imagine we are talking about a new type of food.
Jack, I made a new dish with lots of mushrooms. Do you want to try some?
Oh, thank you, Isla. That's very kind. But I am not a fan of mushrooms. I just don't like the texture.
No problem at all. I know mushrooms are not everyone's cup of tea. I can make you something else.
See, listeners, Isla didn't get offended, and I expressed my dislike politely using am not a fan of and just. This is how natural, friendly English works.
And remember, when you are talking about your likes and dislikes, you are sharing a part of your personality. It's a great way to connect with people.
Now, before we wrap up, it's time for our question of the day. This is a chance for you, our listeners, to practice what you've learned. We encourage you to answer this question out loud, or write it down, or even share it with a friend.
Answering questions like this helps you practice forming sentences and using the new vocabulary we've taught you. It builds your confidence and helps you remember the phrases.
Today's question is simple. What is one thing you really like doing on the weekend and one thing you can't stand doing?
Let me give you an example answer. I could say, I really like going to the park on the weekend. I can't stand doing the laundry.
And I could say, I love meeting my friends for coffee on Saturday. I hate cleaning the kitchen.
See how we used the ing form after the verbs? Try to use really like or love for the positive thing and can't stand or hate for the negative thing.
We'd love to hear your answers. If you're listening on a platform that allows comments, please share your answer with us. It's a great way to practice.
Well, Jack, we've covered a lot today. We talked about the simple ways to express likes and dislikes, the strong ways, the polite ways to say no, and some very natural conversational phrases.
Remember, the most important thing is to speak. Don't worry about making mistakes. Just try to use one new phrase from today's episode like, I'm not a fan of or I can't stand.
Practice makes perfect. The more you use these phrases, the more natural they will feel. And the more natural you sound, the more confident you will become.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Daily English Talk. We hope you feel more relaxed, guided, and motivated to speak English.
We'll be back next time with another useful topic to help you on your English learning journey. Until then, keep practicing and have a wonderful week.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye for now.